Hey, welcome back to Driven by Purpose. I am your host, Rudy Rudiger, and today I'm joined by the famous Ruth Klein. Welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, talk about famous Rudy. You have no idea. It's Rudy is a family movie. We watch it as often as we can.
Well, I'm honored you would even say that, but what I'm excited about, your background. Here's the question. We all have our moments, right? But what was that moment that shifted inside you that gave you the sense of your purpose, your deeper purpose? What was that?
So there have been many of those moments that I've had those shifts. Most recently, living in Pacific Palisades, we had the Palisade fires.
Yes.
And I literally could see the flames going up the hill. And it started at 10:30. I didn't notice it until 11:30. And I thought, there's a fire. The firemen and women will put it out.
Yeah.
And then my daughter called like every 30 minutes. Mom, you have to leave. It's really bad. You have to leave. And I just didn't believe it. I couldn't wrap my arms around it. And so I stayed until 2:30. Getting work done.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'll be back in a couple of days. But I thought, just in case. And I looked around and I thought, what am I going to take? And the only thing I took, Rudy, were pictures. Pictures. And that is my deepest why. Not only my family and the messages of that, my legacy of my family, the health of my family, but people's legacy of their family, their stories, very, very important to me. My parents are immigrants from Europe, and they came after the war, unfortunately. Poland, the worst part to be in.
Yeah.
And they came after the war.
Wow.
And so, they had nothing. They had less than nothing. They had seen their parents and grandparents and everybody,
Sure.
killed. And they didn't really have money. They didn't know the language. They didn't know the culture. And I learned at a very, very young age, but it didn't hit me. It really hit me. I think until the fires, family has always been important. Family legacy has always been important.
Life. So just recently, you when something shifted inside you recently, is your true, and that's your legacy, family legacy.
Absolutely. And here's the deal. Everyone has a legacy.
Yeah.
And one of my missions is to help people identify their legacy.
Awesome.
Whether it's a book, and you don't have to be in your 60s to have a legacy. You can be in your 20s and have a legacy. You have a legacy. Everybody has a legacy.
Now that was told to me by the very person that inspired me, and not knowing he inspired me, but through his movie Rocky. And he said when we finally met years later, that I have something he doesn't have. And I said, what's that? You have a legacy. I don't know what that meant, but I was doing it out of the love for my father and mother. My dream had a bigger purpose. And what you're saying, that's what you have, but you were doing something you love doing now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look what you've been through. Dance is not easy. What you've done in your life is not easy, but then you found your why, your personal why. How do you live your life? And how do you live and lead or connect with people now? What your why? Is that through what you're doing now?
So yes. So I'd like to think I lead heart to heart.
Gotcha.
And I heard an expression years ago. When you speak from your heart, you connect to the other person's heart. And if the other person's heart is hardened or closed, then what you said sits on the outside. And when there's a pivotal moment and your heart opens, that falls into your heart. And so what I try and do for myself, as well as my clients, is have them connect or reconnect to that place inside that gives them a spark that just is joyful, That's their passion. It's their purpose. And many of us have disconnected from it because of experiences, fears, all kinds of
Wow.
issues.
Well, listen, I'm hearing kind of now with the Palisades fire, and the thing that you brought with you were your pictures. But you had to make a decision.
Yeah.
What is important? That stuff is not my pictures, my memories are important. 'Cause
Absolutely.
once you lose that, it's kind of like you never see it again.
Yeah.
It's all up here. But when you have the pictures, it reminds you of how important and how you connected to people and how you lived your life. That to me, it's like, this is what I get excited about. Because when I went out to California, I felt a certain energy, not the negative energy, but an energy of being creative. And that's a good energy.
Yeah.
And that's what you had. That's why you could help people. So when you have that energy, how do you take that and just channel it? Not only channel it, but keep it so it doesn't flow out wrong. It flows. You got to flow it to the right vein. Sometimes people confuse that.
Yeah.
When they, oh, you're a phony, you're a fake, you're just saying that because that's your job. But you got to say it in a way that you mean it. So what is that? How do you do that?
That's a really good question. A really good question. And the best way I can answer that is energetically.
Mm-hmm.
People feel when you're being honest and authentic, and they feel when you're just saying it. Now, that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is someone who just can't take compliments. They just can't take compliments. And I remember a time when I couldn't take compliments. Someone would say something nice and would go, and it went over my head. And then I had a dear friend, and she goes, Ruth, when someone gives you a compliment, put your hand over your heart. And I started doing that, Rudy. And I don't let it just escape anymore. I just go right here.
That's pretty cool. Not only cool, but it's deep. Because that moment that you're having, you're really connecting with something that's spiritual.
And you can feel it.
You could feel it.
You can feel that connection.
Because, you listen to a lot of speakers. You go to a lot of shows. I never feel certain things.
Right.
But they're good. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I don't feel it.
Right.
When I went to a movie the other night because I was bored. So someone said, you got to go to this movie. So I go. I was on the edge of my seat only because he had passion.
Yes.
Only because he did things the hard way and he earned his way. And I say that without prejudice because there's other movies I see, that's good, but not for me. But there's certain movies I'll rewatch, and because of that, and that's how people feel in front of you. They keep coming back for that. They love that feeling. They love that energy.
And that's why I do what I do.
Is that your why then?
Yes, to help people reconnect with that
Yeah.
spark, because that spark is their passion. That spark is what's going to get them through when life is tough, and life will have ups and downs.
What about the who factor? How do you help that? How do you get people to the who?
Who, in terms of...
Look, you have a person in front of you.
Uh-huh.
So who do I go to do my thing that I'm passionate about? How do you help them get to a who, or do you let them define that themselves?
I guide my clients, and I ask them a lot of questions. And I also, I finally accepted after many years that I'm intuitive.
Yeah.
I used to just go, yeah, And one time my middle child said, Mom, we were talking, and I said something. He goes, well, how did you go from there to there?
Yeah.
And I looked at him, Rudy, and I said, I don't know. And he got really upset with me.
That's a great.
He got really
Oh my
upset with
gosh.
me. He wanted me to tell him how I went from here to there and I could not do that.
Yeah.
Then he's the one that made me stop and think, how did I do that? And then from
Because you never thought about it.
no, it just comes out.
Just go.
And there's things that all of us know things that we have no idea how we know about.
But if we
them.
thought about it, we wouldn't do it.
Probably not.
No, the reason why I'm saying that, because that question's been asked me many times. How'd you get in the movie? I don't know. It just happened. What do you mean it just happened? I eliminated fear.
Right.
I was not afraid to fail.
Yeah.
We got to teach our kids to fail. How do you do that? How do you do that?
I love that. Okay, I could talk a year on that. So I'm writing my 8th book. It's a
Nice.
parenting book.
Yeah.
And one of the pieces I'm really focused in on is letting children fall.
Yeah.
Letting children experience some adversity. It will
Yeah.
make them stronger.
Yes.
It will give them confidence.
Yeah.
It is that confidence that gets them through life.
Right. Let them go.
Let them go. And some of the terms now,
Be there for
but
them.
completely be there
Yeah.
for them and help guide them, but let them experience what they need to experience.
I love
And I've
it.
heard these titles now, like the lawnmower parent and the helicopter parent.
Oh my.
And I'm thinking, okay, all right,
Yeah.
let the child fall.
You know what's interesting? You say that. Now they got this traveling parent. You got to travel and dance. They got to. What do you mean they got to travel?
Right.
Or a soccer team. They got to travel.
The clubs.
Well, yeah, it's a gimmick. Why are you putting all that stress on a family? They got to come up with all these Listen to me. We're way off track now.
Oh, no, we're
Well,
not. Not at all.
Okay, and they got to put all these expenses on. Who is happier, the kid or the parent?
Exactly. So my youngest son, all kids were very athletic, and the youngest one
Yeah.
was like a soccer whiz because he got it from the 2 older ones. So next thing I know, he's asked to be in club soccer. And that's the traveling one. And so I went to one of the practices, and I thought, I don't think so. Then I went to the second practice. I know so. And I took him out because I did not like the energy and the attitude that was going on. And to this day, he will say, Mom, I could have gotten a scholarship if you had allowed me to play club.
You know what? I'm on an airplane coming here. It's a true story. And this lady said, not saying much. I asked her, says, you want my autograph? Because she wouldn't talk to me. So, well, I want your autograph. Because I heard you talking about your son to the lady across the aisle that your son plays football. And he's going to be in the NFL. He's a long snapper. I said, well, don't you want my autograph? She said, well, why do I want your autograph? So I got her talking at least. I said, well, how big is your son? Where does he go to school? Oh, he goes to this high school. Now she's living through the kid acting like he's going to be in the NFL. I said, well, how big is he? He's small. Yeah. And I'm saying, well, he probably has, if he's going to go in the NFL, he needs to gain more weight. He needs to do this, needs to do that. But you're acting like he's in the NFL already. Well, someone said he can make it. Well, that doesn't mean he's going to make it.
Yeah.
I said, now we're talking. At least it's common. My point is, parents are living through the fantasy of that child instead of the reality of the dream. And I keep telling people, let the kid fail. Don't give him expectations he cannot exceed.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. It's so much added pressure
So much
for the
added pressure.
child.
Because the
Yes.
parent wants it. What if he doesn't want that?
Exactly.
What are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
You know, this conversation goes on with this dance. And, you know, I remember Jessica, I don't know why we're talking about this, but this is fun because you're in this wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Because as parents, we dealt with this. Let them go, let them fail, and we'll be there for them.
Absolutely. As long as you're there for them
Yeah.
and you're a sounding board,
Yep.
and you're able to let them know that it's not the essence of who they are.
Oh my goodness gracious! Even the girlfriend boyfriend
Yeah,
situation.
completely. That's even more important now, and that starts really young.
Oh yeah, my I never forget what my son says. Dad, I just got my heart broken. I says, good, you're gonna get some more, brother. My whole point, you gotta go through that.
You've got to go through it.
You can't tell him,
that-
don't date her. Let him find out.
Yeah, that won't work.
No,
That won't work. That'll come back to bite
you and I could talk all night.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask this question. Well, it's kind of funny, but okay, you get this one experience, and you haven't shared it publicly. This is a good one with anybody. What is that one experience that you helped realize how powerful your purpose really is? What is that you never share?
Yeah. So years ago, when I was in grad school in psychology,
Where at?
Les,
I got that.
UCLA,
UCLA.
and I had a prof, and she pulled me in her office, and she said, Ruth, you look through rose-colored glasses. And the way she said it, I thought, well, oh, that's not good. That's not good. So for years in adulthood,
Yeah.
I had that little
Thought.
Yes, I look through rose-colored glasses. That's not good.
Yeah.
Until many years later, I learned, thank you, God, that I can see positive over negative.
Yeah.
Thank you that I can help my clients focus on what's working more than they focus on what's not working. Thank goodness for my rose-colored glasses.
Wow. That's something you never expected.
Never.
But you took a negative turn into a positive. A lot of people have that syndrome.
And you know what? I would venture to say everyone has experienced some kind of comment that was not positive, and they've held on to it. I held on to it, Rudy.
Oh, yeah. And when you let it go and let it be what it's supposed to be, became a much different experience for you.
Much different experience. Wow. A much different experience. I mean, I have another one for you.
I want to hear it.
Okay. So, I would go to summer school every year.
Yeah.
Because my dad wanted me to stay busy.
Right.
And when he gave me that smile of his, and he said, "You want to go to summer school?" I'd say, "Okay." I was under his spell. And so I would always go to summer school. So the year that I was entering...
I hear summer school, but go ahead.
So the year before my freshman year, I go to summer school. And this teacher says, "Well, you're going to be in my classes, right?" I said, "No, I didn't test into it." He goes, "That's ridiculous. You're going to be in my class. You're going to be in my classes." It was a high level for academics.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't test into it. And then when I went 1 year to a JC before I went...
Junior college?
Yes, before I went away to UCLA. And
cool.
I ended up in Bonehead English.
What?
I tested into Bonehead English. Now, the teacher there was the mother of the daughter who was in my class. In high school, we had high-level classes.
Oh, yeah.
She goes, "What are you doing in here, Ruth?" I said, "I tested in here." She put me in English 1A.
Yeah.
So all these years, I thought I really wasn't that smart. People thought I was smart. People would tell me I'm smart.
And you acted smart.
But I wasn't smart. And then
Wait. What do you mean you weren't smart when you tested into something smart?
Well, what happened was years later, I found out I have a extremely high level of test anxiety.
Okay.
So the test anxiety prevented me from taking the standardized tests or whatever.
Right.
Whenever I took tests in class, I got great grades. But
Gotcha.
when all the pressure was there,
That's interesting you say that. A lot of kids have that.
yeah, I mean, it happened on the tennis court.
Yeah.
I would go up and be, semifinals.
Yeah.
I'd almost every time I would not crush it
Wow.
because of that level of performance anxiety.
Wow.
The pressure I put on myself was
How
so
do you eliminate that? Do you still have?
well. It's interesting. Another story.
Yeah.
So I was a keynote speaker,
Wow.
and it was this large women's group,
Yeah.
women's conference, and women were leaving, and I didn't know why they were leaving, but I took it personally. I didn't know that other stuff was going on out there. I just took it personally.
Yeah.
I did not speak for years
You're kidding.
because I thought I was a horrible speaker.
You know, it's funny you say that because having that experience as a speaker, someone would leave during my speech and I would stop speaking.
Yeah.
Then I would say to him, hey, did I say something wrong that you didn't like that you're leaving? No, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm sorry. That's my
I know.
insecurity.
Well, yes.
But you have fun with that. I learned to have fun with that because I call people out to have fun and it helps me. A lot of people say, don't do that. No, it's fun because people like that.
Well, I didn't speak for years.
Oh my God.
And then finally one day I had an epiphany. You know what? I was so concerned about people liking me.
Yeah.
Instead of
you
being
don't need to like me.
instead of being the vehicle for impact.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? I don't care if there's one person in the right. I'm going to be there for them because they're there
That's so powerful.
specifically.
That's
I've
what
no-
changed my life.
It did. It made all the difference in the world. And now I love to speak.
It's interesting. I always focus on the person that's connected to you. I'm talking to him, but I'm talking to everybody.
Right.
And that's what keeps you going.
Right.
And my whole point is when you have insecurities, that's what happens.
Absolutely.
So you have a job that helps people, give them confidence. And you have to bring that out. And in your sessions of challenge, of growth, how do you keep that rooted, that why with you and them?
Beautiful, beautiful question. The way to stay rooted is in alignment. If I suggest something to a client, they'll either say yes or they'll say not really. So not really could be one of two things. They're not ready to accept their genius, or they simply, that's just not for me. And so it becomes an art more than a science.
Yeah.
Because you do the eye contact.
Yeah.
You have the frequency going on. You have the energy going on. And you're listening. And it's in that space that you keep connected.
Yeah.
Or it goes,
yeah. Okay, one last question for someone still trying to uncover their purpose. You got to answer this quick with a question you wish someone has asked you. What was that?
if there was a question someone have asked me, Ruth, what do you want?
Gotcha. What do you want? That's a good question. So how do people get in touch with you?
I'd love for them to contact me on my website,
Yeah.
ruthklein.com.
ruthklein.com.
Yeah,
That's easy.
That's easy. And there is a gift for them
Oh.
where it's a guide for 5 different productivity types. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, underneath productivity is momentum.
That's true.
And if you don't have momentum,
I love it.
you're stuck.